Hey folks, it's Neil from Anchor Ranch Farm in beautiful, rainy Scio, Oregon. Just taking a look at the sheep here. I just moved them into this paddock. They'll spend probably 3 days here and then move to the next one. They were last, we have now completed a full rotation of our pasture. The sheep were last here in about November. It's mid-February now, so that's about the rotation we have with these 22 sheep. This is not, I just thought it'd be fun to look at the sheep. This is not a video about good pasture. This is not good pasture. That's why we have quite a low stocking rate and move them frequently. And I am feeding a little bit of, they've got a little bit of extra hay because they are pregnant. So just to make sure that the babies get enough and mommies get enough nutrition, I'm supplementing with a little bit of hay in addition to the pasture. But the sheep are doing great. They're looking good. They do look good. These are hair sheep. So yes, they are supposed to look like that. They don't have nice fluffy wool. They have woolly lanolin-filled hair that they shed throughout the year. For us, where we are, for our purposes, shearing wool would simply be an expense. We don't really have a market for that, unfortunately. So the best thing for us is to have hair sheep that just shear themselves, and they do leave little tufts of hair all over the field, which is kind of funny to see. But yeah, there they are. I was thinking. I've been thinking for a while, a few days now. I was thinking the other day about who our competitors are. And I think our competition is, I'm going to call them national chain, big box, so-called organic stores. I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to name any names. And I call them so-called organic because compared to your local beyond organic, small farm, family farmer, nothing those stores sell is organic. Now, of course, legally, they're selling organic stuff because they have lobbying groups and legal departments that can make sure that legally what they're selling is that they're allowed to call it organic. But the practices they promote at the farms they buy from, most of which are just large agribusiness corporate farms like anything else, the practices they promote are not what we would consider organic, certainly not sustainable or regenerative or anything like that. And I think that is our competition. I really have never felt like other local small farmers are competitors of ours. We seem to do better at farmers markets when there's other meat sellers around, because I think it's because people know that they can go there and get what they want. Everybody who's doing local sustainable farming is doing things. Our land is a little different. We have things are a little. If you hear that pitter patter sound, that's the rain. Yeah, it's February in Oregon. It's raining. Everybody has things that are a little bit different. And so folks come to a market or, they look on a website or wherever we're listed. And we have a product that is what we like to eat. And also, what does well on our farm, and other people nearby have something slightly different. And so, shoppers can sort of shop around and some people like our stuff, some people like our neighbor's stuff. It's all good. It's all helpful. I think the more local small farmers, the sustainable farmers, the better. But I compare that to what I think is our real competition and unfair competition, which are the big box stores. And I'm talking about places that are selling a so-called free-range chicken for $4.99 a pound. Now, just looking at the math, an actually free-range chicken, not legally free-range, but the way we raise free-range chickens, the way real free-range chicken farmers raise free-range chickens, you have that, and then all of the overhead of a big retail store, a national chain with trucking and marketing and management, and there is no way that they are selling a real free-range chicken for $4.99 a pound. That's just it's not happening. That's not true. Again, legally, what they're doing is legal because they can pay to make it legal. But it's not anything like what we would consider, or most of the folks we know who farm would consider to be sustainable. And it's certainly not free range in the way that you're getting free range chicken from your local free range chicken farmer. So yeah, that's where I see our competition. And I really, I'm not going to say don't shop at those stores. Sometimes they have stuff that you just can't find anywhere else and you like it. And sure. But I wouldn't, I wouldn't kid yourself that shopping there is doing any good in terms of promoting sustainable farming. Really, the best thing that we can all do is really shop with local, small family farmers. And I would say that's a better choice, even if your local farmer isn't exactly sustainable, isn't exactly doing things the way that you would prefer them to. Because you know what, if you spend $100 a week or a month or whatever your budget is with your local farmer, and you go to them and you say, hey, I'd really like to talk to you about how to help you use more sustainable regenerative practices, they're going to listen to you. Because just as an aside, small farmers, we have to pay the bills. So sometimes people do things that not exactly the way they'd like, just because they have to. And if you can help them find a way to do things more sustainably, they're probably going to jump on that chance. But when I was first kind of getting started in this, one of my mentors, mentioned to me, he said, if you don't make any money and you can't pay your bills and you lose the farm, chances are whoever buys the land is not going to share your ideals about regenerative agriculture. So that's sort of small farmers are often just trying to keep the farm. And you have to make tough choices about what you can and can't do. But if you shop with your local farmer and make it known to them that you would be interested, and honestly that you would be willing to pay a little bit extra for them to use so that they can use more sustainable practices, they're going to listen to you. I think if you call up that national big box chain store and you say, hey, I don't really believe that your free range chickens are actually free range in the way that most of us think of as free range. By the way, there are groups that have gone and visited those big farms that claim they're free range and have shown what sort of practices they're calling free range. That big chain store is just going to say, here's the number for our legal department, go away. I really think that local is best. Shopping with your local farmer is really the best way to get good, sustainably farmed food. Now, I was also thinking, just on the same line of thinking, I was contrasting the other day organizations that claim to help with sustainable farming practices or promote sustainable farming practices. Again, note that I'm prefacing with, or claim. We are a very small niche in a very large food market, but it is a growing niche, and there is increased interest from a lot of corners. Some of that's good, and some of that I would say we need to be wary of. And I was thinking about, one organization that we like is the American Pastured Poultry Producers Association, APPPA. We're members. It says American, but there are international members, and they, promote, to some extent, do some marketing to tell people that how great pastured poultry is. They have a newsletter. It's a lot of just sharing information among farmers about different things. things people have tried and ideas and stuff like that. And they had elections for their board of directors the other day, and we voted. And every single person running for the board of directors at the American Pastured Poultry Producers Association was an American pastured poultry producer. And people who are, going out in the field, they grew up doing this, or they started doing this, and they've got experience. They're putting their muck boots on and going out to the chickens every day. They're not running their farm from an office. I thought that was really nice. They're putting in the work. They're committed to sustainable farming, pastured poultry, regenerative agriculture. Some of them measure the number of chickens they raise in the thousands per year. Some measure the number of chickens they raise in the hundreds. But everybody's a family, small scale compared to a agribusiness, small scale farmer. And then I contrast that with, I'm not going to name any names, but you look at some much larger, much better funded nonprofit advocacy groups with, offices with very, very nice real estate for their offices. And, look at their board of directors, and every single person is the CEO or the chairman or something of a major global transnational corporation. And their leadership staffs are full of, people who came off the partner track at a corporate law firm or something. Nothing against corporate lawyers, especially the ones that are actually telling corporations that they do need to follow the law. I just look at that organizational structure and I go, if you really cared about sustainable farming, sustainable business, you would be practicing it in your own business. And clearly they're not. So I just look at those two, that contrast between organizations, real grassroots organizations like APA, Friends of Family Farmers is another one, and then these much better funded, larger, quote unquote advocacy groups that they clearly have their own agenda, it's I don't believe that it is really promoting what we would consider to be sustainable regenerative agriculture. So I really think that supporting local farms, family farms, organizations that support family farms that are grassroots, that are run by family farmers, that is the best way to help support and promote sustainable agriculture. By the way, I just wanted to point out there's no fence along these blackberries. We've got blackberry thickets that are at least 10 feet thick, and they make great sheep fence and also pig fence. So that helps us save on fence materials. The sheep kind of pick at the leaves that are on the edges and kind of keep the canes from coming out more into the pasture, but they're not going to go 10 feet through that thicket and get out. So if you have something like that, you might think of using it to save your money on your fencing costs. So yeah, local farms, they're good. Again, folks, I'm Neil from Anchor Ranch Farm. To find out more about us and our regenerative farming practices, you can visit our website, anchorranchfarm.com. Peace be with you. See you.